the latest space epic horror is out now in theaters, and of course that is Alien Romulus, and we were all very fortunate enough to see it. So I did kind of like it with those old school vibes. Definitely felt like a new hope inside the ships with all like the dashboards and the different control panels. Definitely got those
That's dope.
vibes. It was a slow build, but man, that ending was wild. So JD, what did you think of this movie?
So the reviews were so positive going into it. I think my expectations were a little too high, and it didn't quite get there to where I understood all the hype. But I still really liked it. My favorite part was like the world they built. It really felt like we were in deep space. I think they did it better than Star Wars does. I think they did it like almost as good as Interstellar even.
Yeah.
I hated the droid at first, super vulnerable and confused. And I was like, why is this kind of a character in here? Then it made sense when he got his like officer chip, and he was like crucial to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think I expected a higher death count from the aliens, maybe more action, more chaos as far as yeah, just a higher body count. But yeah, I had a really good time.
Everyone. They
They
got
killed
everyone.
everyone. It was just like I was expecting like aliens level, like a lot,
Like
somewhere in
random people
between.
dying too, just like
Right,
slaughter. Yeah.
right. And the ending was really weird. I was really entertained by it. It was like, whoa, what the heck? Didn't expect it. So the surprise factor was there. It was just so weird. It was totally like the Prometheus thing, which
Mm-hmm.
I think didn't get the best reception online, didn't it, Prometheus? But then they like connected it to something that looked a lot like that Prometheus character. It was so weird, but that lady pissed me off. She was so stupid for injecting herself. Like they had a plan for her to survive and the baby, and then she just goes ahead and injects herself with like she didn't even know what that was. Like, why did she do that? I didn't
Yeah,
understand that at all.
that was wild. And so Love said that same thing. He said, isn't that the Prometheus guys?" And so I don't think it was. It did look like them though. But I think that was like a first. Like that was the first human xenomorph real hybrid that they basically created with that thing right there. But again, the humans in this universe and Prometheus, those what are they called? The engineers are the ones who created humans in Prometheus. So a lot of it tied in. We got some more black goo. Again, the thing she shot herself up with. We kept seeing black goo in Prometheus and in Alien Covenant, and people were wondering like, what the hell is this? Why do we keep seeing this black goo? And so we kind of got that fleshed out there. But I'm with you, JD. So I saw a ton of super high reviews for this, and so when I came out of it, I was like, okay, it wasn't as good as what I heard it was, but I still enjoyed it. I did, like Lub said, I love the aesthetic. So this takes place in between Alien and Aliens, which was the second one. This takes place in between the two on the Alien timeline. And I loved how they continued that aesthetic. Like Lub said, all the ships, the screens, the keys, and everything. It was exactly like Alien was, which was made in 1979 with all the analog stuff and blocky letters. And so I just loved that they continued that look. They did a really cool job with the set design and the practical effects they used, and all that was like impressive. It was dope. It was refreshing. It was like watching a movie from the 80s for the first time in theaters, but with better visuals, obviously. So I really appreciated that. But as a whole, just as a standalone movie itself, I didn't think it was amazing. And before we got to the end where she shot herself up and things started kicking off, I was actually thinking to myself, this movie's not that good. I think I'm going to have a not great review when we talk about this and say that I think the hype is wrong. And then I was on edge at least for the entire last part of it. The baby hybrid thing was super creepy at first, and then kind of just super weird by the end of it too, like a little too weird. But it was enough to like catch my interest again and bring me back into the movie. So I thought for a young cast too, the majority of them did really good, especially Andy the android. He killed it as two different types of android. He took over that other guy's personality and then back to his nervous kind. So I thought he absolutely killed his performance.
Yeah, I agree. The end definitely kind of saved the movie for me. I was like, just the way they built up to it, where she's creeping around and the score hits, and then when you see the birthing scene and they kind of don't show it at first, and then when she walks in, you see it standing up there, and I was just like, what the fuck is this?
It's pretty gross.
Like chill, like goosebumps, like hair standing up on the back of your neck. Like it was a really good ending to the movie. And yeah, the cast was good. I told Dave during the movie, I think that the two British guys needed captions. It's like I could barely understand what they were saying during the
Sometimes,
movie. Their accent
yeah.
was so thick. I was like, all right, bro, let me fucking trying to understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to make a name of
Dude,
myself.
That cousin, like, I get he was the angry cousin. He's the guy who doesn't like droids or doesn't like androids. But oh my gosh, like every scene, just shut up. Why don't you shut up too? He's just yelling at everybody to shut up and is just getting pissed. It's like, okay, we get it. He's the angry character. Like, kill this man already. But yeah.
Well, one thing I
yeah.
really like to see was the original android from the first movie. Him showing up was a really
Bilbo.
cool appearance.
Yes.
So
Bilbo,
that was totally awesome to see that. That was Bilbo, totally.
Yeah.
I totally didn't expect that. I don't know if that actor is still kicking, but I mean, that was CGI face, probably.
The CGI didn't look great. He
Little Tarkin-esque.
He passed away. No, yeah, he passed away a few years ago. But yeah, the CGI didn't look great in the first scene. He kind of popped up on it. It took me out of it for a bit, and then I got used to it. But that was cool. They had a little throwback to Ash, the original science officer in the first Alien.
I was happy to rewatch the first one before going and seeing this, or else I probably wouldn't have appreciated that as much.
Dude, so I, for some reason, because I saw other people saying Prometheus and Covenant were the most important to rewatch before going into it. So I've seen Prometheus a few times already. I've never seen Covenant. So I watched Covenant, and it was all right. It was a continuation of Prometheus. We kind of got like our first xenomorph pop up in it. Kind of an obvious twist behind it. But so I started the first Alien before, but I didn't finish it by the time I got to the movie. But I got about halfway through. But I want to say I probably would have been able to finish both of them in time if it wasn't for Disney Plus and their ads. Yeah, I've got the account where there's ads on it, but holy crap. Every like 25 minutes, Disney Plus has these 2-minute ads. And if you get to the point where you get to the ad, but you want to skip back a second because you missed a line, the ad finally finishes, you skip back 10 seconds. It just resets it and immediately makes you watch 2 full minutes of ads again. I was so pissed. Like, Disney Plus is garbage as far as a platform goes for that stuff. Like, I was like, oh, I couldn't believe that. Like, every other app, it doesn't make you rewatch the ad. So that's my mini rant. God, I was so mad.
Well, dude, Amazon Prime just threw commercials in without saying anything. Like,
They all did.
like, I didn't-
All of a sudden, you
They
just have
totally-
ads.
before, like, okay, now I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love the cinematography in this movie too. I know it was a lot of
Totally.
inside the ship, but when they get to that planet and it's like a ring of Saturn almost,
The ring.
and
Oof.
showing the ship like slowly crashing into it was so cool to see.
The rings looked amazing. It looked like, almost like Interstellar-ish when it was getting to because it's ice, you know, when you get as close as you can to the rings, it's frozen particles, and the way their ships were crashed into it, there was larger chunks of the ice around it. Like, it looked really good as far as VFX goes for the ring, for the planet's ring. So that was dope.
And the way they used the sound when the camera was outside the ship in space, and they
Yes,
used the space
silence.
sounds really well. So
Yeah.
it felt immersive.
Yeah, that was dope. I did have one major problem with it, which was leading into the third act. But so we finally get the xenomorphs showing up, like, and they're in action, like they're coming down the hallway, yada yada. In Covenant, when they were trying to pick off the xenomorphs, like, they were almost partially bulletproof. Like, you had to hit them in the exact right spot, otherwise it wasn't killing these things in Prometheus and Covenant. And so she just kind of wiped out like 20 xenomorphs way too easily on that bridge there. The anti-gravity scene was dope afterwards with the acid blood and the fact that you had to turn that on so it didn't, you know, break the pressurization of the ship and suck them all out to space. Loved that little aspect, but the fact she mowed them all down super quick, I was like, well, that's... People have struggled with one in these movies, and she just took out like 25 like it was nothing. So that was... Yeah.
Get all the way off their back about the other movie. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Super easy.
The
There's a girl... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say the director said he was open for doing an Alien vs. Predator, and that would be sick with his quality going there.
With the Prey director, right?
Yes,
Yes!
with the Prey director,
Oh,
which would
yeah.
be awesome. Like, I'm so here for that. That sounds amazing. Like, absolutely, they've deserved deserve that shot. If they both want to do it, let them have it. Like,
Right.
because Prey would have done good at the box office if it went there, but unfortunately, it was released during COVID on Hulu. But it was a success. It's like 97% audience score or something on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Like,
So
it did
good.
well. People liked it. So, and Romulus obviously got a warm reception. So, yeah, man, let it happen.
In the Alien franchise, I never realized at first that it's the directors are Ridley Scott, James Cameron, and
James
then David
Cameron.
Fincher does the
Yeah.
third one. The third one's not
Oh.
Marvel,
What?
but it's David Fincher.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that either. I didn't know James Cameron did the second until the night we
Yeah.
watched it, and Tyler told me. I was like, what?
Yeah, and some people think it's better than the original.
Right. Well, they went from sci-fi horror to like straight
Wild.
up action, so it was like a genre flip, and I think that's pretty cool. Little variety.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. I didn't appreciate the Alien franchise enough, I think, until this kind of turned me on to it more than because again, I'd seen the original back in the day, 20 years ago, and I'd seen Prometheus and Alien vs. Predator, and those are the only ones I'd seen. I didn't see the second Alien vs. Predator. I didn't, so. But it's got a cool lore. Like, me and Lub were talking about it. There's a pretty deep lore to this
didn't
that
know
I
that
was
at
not
all.
aware of, but it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, what would you guys give it out of 10 for a rating?
I had like a high 7.8.
Yeah. Dave,
That's exactly what I had. Yeah, 7.8.
I had like a 7.4 actually.
Oh,
Oh,
You see that, world?
you
podcast.
just typed that.
I wanted to point out before we wrapped it up, though, I don't know what it is with this franchise, but that was now the fourth female lead with short brown hair who ends up being the only lone survivor and goes into a cryo sleep at the very end.
Oh.
Prometheus, it was Elizabeth Shaw. Covenant, it was Daniels. Again, short brown hair, female, and she was one of two that went into cryo sleep at the end.
Sigourney
Ripley
Weaver.
in like the other 5 movies. Yeah, now this one, the girl from Civil War was the same situation. So it's
Dude.
interesting that happens every movie in this franchise. But
People are concerned about inclusion with casting, dude. Sci-fi has always done that. Princess Leia, Sigourney
Yep.
Weaver, and Aliens. There's other examples. They've always done it.
oh, absolutely. I mean, Resident Evil. What's the vampire one? Underworld. I mean, there's a ton of them out there.
Sci-fi does it.
If I do it.
Girls get it done.
They just want to have fun.
Oh, God.
All right. Oh yeah, we're live on YouTube. Hey guys. Anyone
We
else?
are live. Hello, everybody. Got a couple people stopping in and out. Feel free to drop a comment down in the chat. Tell
Say something mean to Love.
looks. Yeah.
Sorry, love.
That was not planned, but
All right, let's get this started.
We're the 7.8 brothers.
sick.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast. Joining me today are my co-hosts David Cochran and Jeremy Darr, fifth of his name. And today we have a jam-packed episode of Week in Geek.
Hey.
A Star Wars show has been wiped from existence. We have more D23 news, a Sonyverse trailer, a box office draft update, and more. And don't forget to check out some of our other episodes. We have our Rings of Power Ultimate episode, kind of a quick review of Season 1, gripes, favorite moments, and a preview for Season 2. And of course, you can find that on our feed. And also on the Galactic Core podcast, filling in for Andy. So check it out. And then we have our D23 Live, which was taken down by YouTube. Come on, guys, you gotta leave it up there for the boys.
God.
We're
But it's
not the
still-
only ones.
But it still is an audio form, and you know, maybe or maybe not the audio from those trailers are in the podcast, but you know, no one needs to know that.
You know, that's what happens when you have ambition. The big guys try to squash you and take you out just because you want to
Every-
reach the stars.
Everybody put the trailer on their shit.
And we have our Road to Secret Wars, Hickman Avengers Volume 3. It's been a while. We took a little detour off the road to Secret Wars, but we're back. And don't forget to follow us on social media on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube at Why So Sidious Pod. All right, let's get into it with the biggest news, I think, and that is that Star Wars Acolyte Season 2 has been canceled. Not just canceled, the merch is gone from Disney.com. You can't find anything anymore. It's just out of here.
As a wise Jedi master once said, if an item does not appear in our records, then it does not exist.
Fuck you, Jocasta. So when I think about this news, obviously none of us here were big fans of the first season. But personally for me, I'm kind of disappointed just because it kind of shows where Star Wars is as a whole overall. And I wish they weren't so scared and timid sometimes to where I kind of wanted to see a season 2 of the show. Even though I wasn't a big fan, I still wanted to see what they could do with this next season with maybe a different staff or more, get Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni kind of overseeing things more. But I don't know. I'm just kind of disappointed that they just they do have their ear to the pulse for once. They have their ear to what people are actually saying out there, which is new for Lucasfilm under this new regime. But
Yeah.
I'm disappointed overall.
I do get that. And obviously, like you said, we weren't really fans of the show. And, part of me was hoping that it didn't get continued because I don't trust them with Plagueis. I just don't. And it is a bummer. I thought they did a good job with Kamir, creating a new character with a blank slate there. I thought they did solid there. But from what I saw, I didn't want them touching Plagueis. And I thought it was lazy the way they threw it in. So I was kind of like, I kind of hope it doesn't. And then once I got the news, my initial reaction was like, all's right. Cool. Like, it probably shouldn't have anyways. And then the more I see, I feel bad because I know people out there who did genuinely like it. And that sucks when you genuinely like a show and it gets canceled after one season. So I immediately started feeling for the people out there who did like it. Not the ones who claim that if you didn't like it, it's because you're a toxic fan and you're not a good Star Wars fan, because there's so much of it out there. I just had to stop looking at comments about this show and just started pressing not interested. But the other aspect of it is, it does kind of suck when you sit back and think it's not a good thing for Star Wars as a whole to have to cancel a series like that, especially when half the fan base did like it. And we've already been struggling to get movies. Star Wars is not at its peak right now, and so anything negative like that does not help Star Wars get to where it needs to be. It's another thing that they lost money on. I don't get the whole merchandise thing, but so I guess all in all to say, I didn't want season 2, but I'm not sad about it, but it's not a great thing for Star Wars as a whole.
I just hope they're not going to run away from doing that era of Star Wars on the timeline.
Right.
Like they're scared to go back to that era, because I do want to see stories in that era. So I hope it's not like, oh, they just don't like seeing the stuff in this era. Let's go back to the Skywalker stuff in Clone Wars.
Right.
So hopefully it's not that.
Yeah, exactly. I really hope they didn't get the wrong
impression there. Oh, people don't want to see Plagueis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plagueis sucks, I guess.
Well, there's a funny meme going around, and it's the final scene of the season where it's the back of Yoda's head, and it's like, damn, we're never gonna figure out who this little guy is.
I'll say it forever. They have such good source material, dude. It's a no-brainer, dude. Drop a Darth Bane trilogy, you got $1 billion per movie. It's just, dude, you have such good source material.
Even a show would work great. Each season is a book, if they want to take that route.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to.
You just saw Deadpool blow up. You can do a rated R one and
do a rated R
Star
Star
Wars. It's like, let us see Darth Bane be Darth Bane. Come on.
But I'm also sick of series. I like Star Wars on the big screen. Like that's where they shine.
I'm kind of there.
I'm really ready to see an opening crawl again, and that music, and then see something
the
quality.
Quality.
Badass. Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of that excuse of, well, it's a TV show budget, even though the Acolyte had $180 million. But there is a difference in quality. I know Acolyte wasn't in the volume, and there were scenes that looked really good in this show. But I don't like it. I don't like the change. I don't like changing to practical props for the lightsaber. They looked way better in the prequels as the digital with just the handle and then the fiberglass little skinny thing and they CGI the blade on. I don't like what they're doing now. I hope they don't do that in the movies because I can tell when OSHA put that blade up to Khmer, up to his neck, and certain other angles when they're pointing the lightsaber, I can tell it's a plastic prop. Like I can see the blade or the blade tube there, I feel like. And I miss what it used to look like. So I need to see a Star Wars movie to know
What
how they're
about
going to handle that.
Ahsoka show.
It still wasn't. It was better than the Acolyte as far as the CGI for the lightsabers, but I still got that feeling at points. Even in Ahsoka and Anakin's duel, I loved it, but it didn't feel the same as the lightsaber clashes of the prequels and other aspects of it. I want them to go back. It was working great. I don't know why you got to change it to have them actually swinging around the full plastic tubes, and I don't know. That's a nitpick, but it bothers me.
Hopefully Andor season 2 is going to be a banger. We all know that.
go.
So they
Yeah.
have
We
that
don't
in
need
their back
lightsaber
pocket.
props there. Yeah, we're ready.
All right, well, let's move on to D23. Of course, we had our live episode, but the next day was the animation panel. Just want to get the news out there for the fans, see if this interests you at all. So we have What If Season 3, which is the final season. They're featuring White Vision, Moon Knight, Shang-Chi, and Ironheart. And I'm sure that there's more, but that's the 4 that I saw. So
Sure, Captain Britain is in there for like 3 episodes.
Right. Captain Carter is 100%.
Oh, yeah.
They botched this. I gotta say, they kind of botched What If. I really enjoyed season 1. I didn't mind season 2. But it could have been so much more. They could have been so much more expanded. Why are we doing a final season of season 3? You could do this as long as Marvel is existing and just keep doing creative What If. It doesn't have to follow a storyline. That's the point of What If. Just do fun premises. So I don't get why they're wrapping it up on season 3, and I don't get why they turned it into a story following Captain Carter. It's What If. Get crazy, you know? So I think they
Yeah.
botched it. But
Totally.
I'll still watch it, but it's just I don't get it.
I didn't even watch season 2 because
I didn't finish it.
yeah, I didn't even start it. I didn't love season 1. I loved the
Wow.
Doctor Strange episode. That was pretty cool, but I didn't like the vibe. They weren't getting creative enough and doing. They were still just like playing it too safe. It felt.
Yeah.
So if they weren't going to go all out doing some crazy stuff, then I was just like whatever. I was kind of bored with all of it. I just like the Doctor Strange one was pretty solid.
I like the
Yeah,
Vision
that's fair.
Ultron.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good too.
Yeah,
that was sick.
dope. Yeah. Yeah. Out of all that, the thing they chose to keep from that storyline, though, is Captain Carter, not the crazy Ultron Vision combo, not like him breaking the fourth wall and being able to see the Watcher and everything. They just continued Captain Carter's story from that. So, interesting decision.
Boring.
Anyway, what else would you get out of there, animated-wise?
We got X-Men 97 Season 2. There were,
Excited for that.
New characters, Danger, Warlock, and it says they'll wear
Danger.
their
Oh,
Grant
yeah.
Morrison suits. from
Yeah.
the comics.
I don't love the suits, but I like that.
Nope.
You know, I just like the callback in a way for a cool
Yeah.
X-Men era. But the suits are pretty lame.
And maybe with better animation, they'll look better. You know, the art style wasn't great with those. Remember, Cyclops looked like Beavis or Butthead. I don't
Yeah,
remember
he
which
did.
one's got the
Damn
brown
it,
hair,
Beavis.
but damn it, Wolverine. So yeah, hopefully it looks better in the animation. But I'm looking forward to it. Season 1 was awesome.
That was like the best animated thing. Like I think I would take that over any DC animated movie too. That X-Men 97 was sick.
It was awesome. Yeah.
And we have Eyes of Wakanda. 4 episodes. It's going to be 3D CGI animation. And there was an Iron Fist tease.
How's
How do you guys
work?
feel with this Eyes of Wakanda? It's going to be like the history of the Black Panther, basically.
I'm not that interested in it, to be honest. I don't know. We're spoiled with MCU. If it doesn't connect, I'm just like, I mean, if it's really good, that's great. But it's still animated. Not my thing, really. Iron Fist and Black Panther doesn't make sense, and I don't really care to see. I don't want to see a Black Panther come back to the MCU. I want to see Iron Fist come to the MCU. I don't really care about a side story animation deal. So
That's fair.
Fair.
I'm gonna definitely check it out. Just because I don't know why Iron Fist is there, but I'm intrigued, just because he wasn't great in the Netflix series, so I'm curious to see how he's portrayed in this. And I do like the Wakanda backstory, so I really liked Black Panther mainly because we got all this information behind Wakanda and its origins. I love the Dora Milaje, so I do like the story behind Wakanda, so I'm definitely going to tune in. Ryan Coogler's an executive producer, which helps.
Oh.
But I wouldn't say I'm like stoked for it, but I'm definitely going to watch it.
Only 4 episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
What? How long are they? Let's just make an animated movie.
Right.
Right. That actually makes me a little more excited if it's just a little small, compact story. Maybe they got something pretty cool brewing.
Yeah.
Tales of Wakanda, pretty much. Tales of the Jedi. Yeah, I'm here for it.
And we have friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Of course, they are putting the symbiote in this. And it's Peter and Norman Osborn. And their relationship is kind of like a what-if scenario. Instead of Peter and Tony from the MCU, it's Peter and Norman.
Oh.
But the main difference is Peter is learning questionable methods from Norman, and Peter is starting to use those questionable methods in his crime fighting. So it does look kind of cool.
Interesting.
Different side of Spider-Man, and Norman is obviously his mentor.
That is interesting. I did not know that was the premise to it because I was confused of what the premise was. Norman Osborn is voiced by Coleman Domingo, who people were actually fan casting to replace Jonathan Majors to be Kang. But I heard his voice. I will say I heard his voice in like a teaser, and somebody mentioned like, "Hey, close your eyes and tell me you don't hear Willem Dafoe." And there were bits of it where I was like, okay, there's aspects of it where he kind of weirdly sounds like Willem Dafoe, but I'm more interested just after hearing what you just said about it.
Same. That amped up my excitement. Originally, I'm like, another reboot for Spider-Man, just animated.
Right.
God, we've gotten 3 live-action things going on, and
Spider-Verse is still going on.
Hope we see Uncle Ben die
Spider-Verse.
again.
That guy's always dying. Yeah, we'll see. But that's an interesting premise for sure.
Yeah. It's worthy of another Spider-Man story, and it's just a little. I think it's a young adult show, I would say.
That's what I was looking for, was a rating. As long as it's not TVY 7. But I don't see anything right now.
That's pretty much my big thing with animated in general. It never really reaches like an adult audience. I mean,
DC does.
True. They got
Those
the
are
rated R
R-rated.
stuff, and those are some of the best. Dark Side War, Justice League Dark, those are actually pretty good. Yeah, it just doesn't reach like that height of drama, intensity, and stuff that speaks to me anyway.
Right. Well, that's a great segue to our final piece of D23 news, which is Marvel Zombies, which is
That's
rated
supposed to be.
TVMA. And it says they'll have Mad Max action. Mad Max style action. I don't know exactly what that means for a Marvel Zombie show.
So they're going to be
It's gonna be
driving,
animated.
driving a lot.
Driving cars around for 45 minutes.
It doesn't
straight.
do much for me not being live action.
Right.
But
Hopefully they go all in.
Yeah.
who is this focused around? Was it Miss Marvel, who was the main character? There was some news about the character. who was
Yeah,
gonna
we
be in
talked
this.
about that being strange for like an R-rated show. Why are you going to choose your most, young
Yeah.
audience character?
And it is. It's Amon Villani. But I'm not, it's just weird, but I'm still going to, give it a shot and see what they got.
Yeah, I'm probably excited most for that. I mean, it is rated R, so it's going to at least be pretty crazy in that aspect.
It piques the interest to be like, all right, let's see what they're going to do. Let's see what they're willing to put on screen here. So, yeah, could be cool.
Yeah, it says the first season of the series will have 4 episodes. It's another 4 episode.
What the hell is going on with 4-episode animated seasons?
And will also feature other alternate versions of MCU characters, including Yelena Belova, Katie, Kate Bishop.
What the hell's Katie?
I don't know who Katie is. The Red
Hell
Guardian,
yeah.
Jimmy Woo, Death Dealer, Zhu Zhangji, and Zhu Wenwu.
Okay, so a lot of Shang-Chi and his family. But, all of those cameos almost made me less excited Like, those are the ones you advertise? Who the hell is Katie? We had a variant of Katie? Katie who? What?
It should be Blade, Punisher, Venom, Wolverine, people that...
Yeah.
Is Aquafina Katie?
I might not watch. Now I gotta look that up. I'm gonna be legitimately upset if that's her character. Don't you dare say Katie. Son of a...
It is her.
Is that Shang-Chi's buddy?
Aquafina, that chick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most annoying voice in the world. Who I always say, stop voice casting her in every single animated thing. And now Marvel Zombies decided to take the entire cast of Shang-Chi, including Aquafina. Katie. That's the character we want to see in Marvel Zombies. Thank you. That I've been waiting to see a variant of her. Oh, okay.
All right.
Anyways.
Well, Marvel Zombies. Stay tuned for our full coverage of every episode. All right.
There's a
Unzip
whirlwind
me.
of excitement and then not excitement. Yes, no.
TVMA though. Come on, guys. Keep a little hope.
Back to exciting.
Yeah, maybe we shall get brutally killed.
All right. Let's move on from D23, but still keep it in the Marvel verse. Seems like Charlie Cox has teased some Daredevil cameos. So, do you guys think this could be Netflix or MCU? What do you think he's talking about here?
Well, I'm hoping it's not the MCU people because I wasn't a fan of most of them except Kat Ritter, Caitlin Ritter.
Katie, yeah.
Katie Ritter.
Kristen Ritter.
I hope it's more MCU oriented. I want to see Spider-Man in there. Who else is in New York? Maybe Doctor Strange, She-Hulk, probably. So I just want to see some. Look, I know, but we don't like the show. But I still want to give the character a chance if it's not anyone involved with that show. The character could have potentially. But I do want to see the interconnected tissue there. So I think Spider-Man's very likely. They cross paths all the time in the comics.
That would be sick. I hope it's MCU too. There's no need to do Netflix cameos at this point. Even though I wouldn't, well, we can't. Never mind. We can't. We're not gonna get Micro because he is now Ben Grimm in the Fantastic Four, so we can't get Micro anymore. And I don't want it recast. It's not worth recasting. So it's got to be MCU. Spider-Man, I think, would be the top billing, even though it might be tough as far as budget goes to get Tom Holland down there. Let's see.
Just have him do the voice and not take his mask off.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, they don't know who Peter is anyways, so.
Yeah. Wong is also a possibility. Maybe even Nick Fury.
Yeah, maybe Abomination's character pops up since we kind of last saw him. Well, we didn't. We last saw him in Harlem, and then he appeared in She-Hulk. So never mind. I'm sure we're gonna get stuff like Echo, like stuff like that from that season, and maybe Kate Bishop because she's in New York. I think we'll get smaller things like that that are already in TV series, so it's not like a big budget breaker. Maybe they already signed contracts where they have to appear in certain TV shows already. So yeah, I'd guess Yelena, Kate Bishop's, maybe Sam Wilson.
That would be sick. Like a recruiting scene. Like, hey, you want to join our team?
Ooh, Valeria. Nope. Valerie. Elaine from
Valentina.
Seinfeld. Yeah, there you go. Maybe she pops up and tries to recruit Daredevil. He's like, yeah, I can smell the scumbag on you. I'm not working for you.
Or
she pops up and tries.
Any of the Thunderbolts, build up to that movie.
Yeah, they try to bring Daredevil into the team because he's a rogue, kind of violent, not exactly goes with the grain type of law enforcement hero. So yeah, maybe we get something like that.
Right. Of course, we're all excited for Daredevil, and check out our episode of D23. There might be a little exclusive Daredevil
audio.
And send us we do talk about it. Send us GoFundMe's too, so Lub will be inspired to finish season 2, and then you can get our episode covering Daredevil season 2 featuring the Galactic Core podcast.
Yeah, I don't have the funds to get Disney Plus right now. It's expensive.
No, that's not what I meant. I just pay you to watch it. He's already got Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We just need to pay his ass to finish this season.
All right, so James Spader is confirmed to return as Ultron in
go.
Vision Quest. Filming begins in England early next year, and it's a part of a trilogy involving WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and of course Vision Quest. They're one of the greatest trilogies in all of comic book history. But yes, I mean James Spader is Ultron. How do you think? What form does he return in?
That's what I was wondering. You know, because they were talking about, like, in Infinity War, Bruce said that Vision is a complex combination of Tony and himself and Ultron and the Stone. So maybe it has something to do with Vision's new form. But then again, if it's his new form, Ultron shouldn't be a part of that. Like, really, it seems like it was kind of everything was wiped clean. But then again, he does have all the memories, which aren't brain neurons. They're more mechanical. So maybe Ultron is still in there somewhere. But I don't know. I'm just excited, dude. Ultron was such a cool villain, and the voice is perfect. And I really hope it's bringing him back for something for the future as well, not just this show. And if it is just for this show, hopefully he plays a big role.
Dude. Yeah, I hope it's not just like a voice in White Vision's head talking to him or something like that as Vision tries to regain who he is and take his memory back and remember the life he had kind of deal. I hope it's not like an inner battle with James Spader's voice. I feel like that's a possibility. But yeah, I really hope, because they killed him off screen, man. That had to have been intentional. He lunged at Vision as he was on his, last legs, and then the camera dipped out and we just saw a flash of light. So I have to imagine, again, I have been saying that I don't think Ultron's gone from the MCU. I thought he was going to return at some point. So I'm stoked to hear he's coming back. I'm stoked to hear it's James Spader because he's awesome as the voice. Yeah, man, I really hope they don't just utilize it as an inner turmoil and then we don't see him again in the future of the MCU. I really hope this leads to something bigger, but we'll see what info we get.
Like, now that he doesn't have the Infinity Stone in his head, maybe Ultron's coming back. That'd be really sick if he gains access to something and builds himself a body and really comes back full Ultron.
Yeah, let's get some Ultron bots.
You think they do that in a TV show, though?
That's a good point.
No, but
Yeah.
maybe they set the table for it. Maybe the season ends, and we think it was just inner turmoil, and then we get a little post credit of Ultron like skimming through the web or whatever, going through stuff, and he starts taking control of some crazy factory or something like that.
No, just the helmet is sitting on like a bench somewhere, and then
And the lights
the eyes light up. And
Yeah.
it cuts to black.
Yep.
That'd be sick.
Yep. In Happy's office, because he holds all of the Easter eggs all around his office, so there's probably an Ultron head in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Hell
and
yeah.
Spider-Man had that Ultron head, or he found one in Homecoming.
I got it. Yeah, that's true too. He's gonna come back in a Tony Stark suit of armor, and he's gonna appear in Secret Wars, and Iron Man is gonna beat Doctor Doom, and Robert Downey Jr. is gonna be thwarted by a James Spader-led Iron Man. Boom! Send it to the bank for a terrible script.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wouldn't put money on seeing Ultron in Vision Quest, like seeing a full Ultron. I don't think it'll happen.
Like an actual, yeah.
All right, well, our last Marvel topic is in the Sonyverse, and we got our final Kraven trailer. So this is a movie we haven't really been talking about a lot. The hype is not up for this movie, sadly, for the dead Sonyverse. But this trailer kind of piqued my interest, I have to say. Like, it kind of made me want to see it in theaters. I will not confirm that yet, but I like the addition of Rhino was cool, and just the kind of story they told in the trailer. I don't know. I kind of like it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I online seems to have a really good reception on this trailer. People actually are pretty excited about it. The nerd podcasts I listen to anyway, they're like, wow, this trailer was good. I was not excited before. I am excited now. And it looked so violent and visceral. And as an animal lover, dude, I'm really excited to see some poachers just get painfully and brutally murdered. That'll be very satisfying. Yeah, seeing him in the full Kraven outfit, he looked awesome. So that looked really cool. It's still a freaking Spider-Man villain without Spider-Man. I don't get it. But hey, I mean, if they're going rated R, they're full sending on that side of things. The violence, this weird like ecosystem balance. That's the kind of hunter he is, and that's cool. Rhino is a cool villain to include in this. It's perfect. The CGI didn't bother me that much. I'm just not that picky with CGI. I just think the villain is a cool choice for Kraven. And then you got Russell Crowe as his dad. I didn't even know he was going in
Yeah.
there. That's pretty sick.
He's going hard lately with the movies. He's trying to retire.
Yeah, from Zeus to Kraven. But I'm glad they didn't show the damn... I'm still worried about how he gets his powers. That all seems ridiculous, so I'm glad we didn't see another shot of that. Yeah. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, I'm definitely more excited.
Yeah, I'm with you. We saw that first Red Band trailer. I think you guys liked it a little more than I did. I was pretty skeptical about it and was not feeling it really. But I was one of the people when this trailer dropped last week. I was like, oh wow, I'm actually interested in this movie now. Like, that was a pretty cool trailer. I like the tone they're taking, and you said it, JD. Like, it was pretty smart of them to take this twist of Kraven the Hunter as being someone who's just brutally murdering people who take advantage of hunting animals. Like, because like you said, that's just pure satisfaction. Seeing some scumbag who's poaching animals and abusing animals get just torn up by Kraven sounds awesome, and it's rated R. Like, so that's dope as it is. Yeah, Rhino. I'm not worried about CGI trailers. They always get patched up a little bit more before the movie drops, and it's hard. You're not going to do it comic accurate, bro. You're not going to have this massive rhino running on two legs with a human face cut out just in a perfect circle out of the face of the rhino. Like, you're not going to make it comic accurate. They tried it in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he was in a robotic rhino suit, and people didn't like that. So I think this is the next chance, give this one a shot then, because I think he's a tough character to bring to live action. So, and again, Russell Crowe, bro, I think it's got potential to just be a pretty interesting and decently entertaining movie even before the bloody action with the cast they have. So,
Agreed. Did JD draft that movie? Was that your last pick? No.
nobody.
I don't
did.
remember.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Venom. You have
No.
Venom, right?
Yeah, because I wanted to pick up Kraven, but we haven't had a movie get delayed too far to where we had that option. But I mean, I don't want Kraven at all. It's a terrible pick. You guys don't want it either.
Whoa. Who are you looking at? Well,
Forgot where
Kraven
the
does
camera
have to
was.
rush the CGI for Rhino to get it out, but Mr. Look at Me Louie himself, James Gunn, he's already wrapped filming for Superman to give his workers plenty of time to finish the post-production. And he says they're not doing any reshoots either, so he is set in it, giving him plenty of time to finish things up. It's a good look for your first movie in DC. You do want to take as much time as possible to get things ready.
That's pretty wild. Like, majority, if not like 90% of movies have reshoots, so it's pretty crazy that they're just confident to the point where they're like, yeah, we don't need to do that. He's got confidence. Yeah, no, it is a great look. He seems to be pretty assured with what he's putting out here. He had a comment too, and I have to imagine it had something to do with Deadpool, but people asked like what cameos were going to pop up in Superman, and he had a statement basically saying how cameos have just kind of been the lazy kind of attention grabbers that are being overused these days, and he thinks that if the character doesn't advance the plot or doesn't need to be in the movie, that he doesn't want him in his movies going forward with these new DC movies. So I thought that was interesting. He has used cameos before, though, that did not advance the plot. So I'm thinking maybe this is just a future thing saying, okay, we've overdone the cameos. But you like to see the confidence.
Yeah, think about this. It's coming out the same month as Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four just started shooting. Like, they're wrapped with this movie. That's crazy.
Wow. Didn't even think about that. What the hell?
And then Marvel's always worried, like, they have a problem with people rushing post-production. I wonder why. But
Good point.
someone online asked him about like why and how he's not doing reshoots, and he gave 6 bullet points on how or why he doesn't need reshoots. 1, he says over prepare. 2, don't start shooting until I have a finished script and my whole team is happy with it. 3, hire actors and department heads I know can do their jobs. 4, surround myself with people who will challenge me and not just yes sir everything. 5, ask myself daily, are there any small imperfections in the script or what we're shooting that might end up feeling like huge imperfections when we cut the film together? And then his 6th bullet point is bullet point 1 and 2 again. But yeah, love the confidence, love the planning. Like I've said from the beginning, he's like one of the best choices to run DC and Superman to start this universe. And this just adds to all that. This is great news.
I do worry about Warner Brothers though, because aren't they the ones that were like $9 billion in the hole with that whole like the earnings meeting? So I do wonder if they're gonna start selling things off in parts. Obviously, James Gunn would still be the head of things, but I just wonder how that could work out in the future, in the middle of him trying to create a universe.
You know what else worries me about that is I don't really think Superman's going to be a huge banger at the box office. Like with all the turmoil of DC, like I think it's really important that it's a great movie, but I still like it needs to be a great movie, but I still don't think it's going to be $1 billion movie. I just think it has to be good to establish the universe, and then the next, movies in the DCU in the future could be your $1 billion movies, but as your first brand new Superman, but it is a huge title, it is a huge character, so you never know. I hope they don't make a small box office and then start giving up on things, because I think a small box office, not small, but relatively to this era.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, like I don't want them to give up if it's not a huge box office. As long as it's a great movie, just don't give up on this, dude. Let it run for a decade or two.
Yeah, it's wild. He just got such a jump on this because they started shooting back in, oh God, what was it? February. So he's been doing this for 6 months, like, so that's longer than most of the Guardian movies, if not all of them, I think, actually. So he spent a lot of time. He just got a jump start on it and gave them plenty of time to release the movie. And now he's jumping right into Peacemaker season 2, which I think he's not directing all the episodes of season 2. I think he's only directing like 3 of them. But this man's busy, but he's got a good head start on it.
I'm sure he's having a great time.
Oh God, yeah, he's living his dream. Right, he's tired, probably taking a lot of Adderall, but he's living it.
So we're excited for that. Of course, it'll be a maybe first round draft pick in the 2026 box office.
Who wins box office? Fantastic Four or Superman?
I think Fantastic Four, just because of the cast.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
Pedro
Four.
Pascal has
And Marvel's
such a following.
They're more established.
Yeah. And like you said, people are pissed about Henry Cavill, so it's going to take away some of the box office.
But none of the Fantastic Four movies made a good box office. They all did bad in the box office, every single one of them.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, the cast, Marvel's well established. It's in an established universe. Right. RDJ's probably going to be in there, so I think this box office will double their highest previous box office at least.
Yeah, I mean, Superman Returns, which was supposed to be somewhat the sequel to the original Christopher Reeve Superman. That was the first Superman movie that dropped in a while. It only made like $350 million, and that came out around the time of the Fantastic Four movies. It came out in 2006. And Man of Steel only made, what did it make? $670 million. So it's not like Superman brings in a billion, but
those are way higher than the I'm pretty sure the Fantastic Four movies were in like the 200 million or something like that range.
The first one in 2005 was 333, so it was pretty much right at Superman Returns.
And I think they got lower and lower. Even the reboot.
I would imagine the second. Yeah, the second one got 300 mil. Oh, the reboot definitely did horrible. I guarantee you that didn't hit 200 million. That got ripped apart as soon as it dropped in the theaters. Yeah, 167 million.
Ooh.
So they are coming off a rough one, but I think there's a lot of hype behind this.
Yeah. I could see it hitting 800, 700, something like that.
For sure. For sure.
Well, speaking of the box office, we have a draft update for our box office.
Don't remind me.
So, yours truly, I have 3 out of 6 movies out, and I have $1,671,332,982. And Deadpool is coming in at 1.15 billion. Not as much as we hoped, but you know, it still hit that Billy. Go out there and see it again, guys. Come on. I know I
still am
declined
gonna.
to see Alien, but
Yeah,
you
I
guys
wanted
go
to.
do it. And our boy JD has 3 out of 6 movies as well, and he has 1.4 billion, 25,380,666. I don't know what you're doing, JD. Mark of the devil over there. Oh, whoa.
I need something, right? What I was looking at, I was pretty low, right?
Yeah, Despicable
I
Me
mean,
only made 850 million. Despicable Me 4.
Okay.
And then
which
you
is
have
wild. It was supposed to
Furiosa
hit a Billy.
at 172 million and Bad Boys 4 at 400 million. And your next release is Joker 2. And my next release is
Which
Beetlejuice
could
coming
blow
out
up.
in a couple
I
weeks.
could.
Hopefully Beetlejuice.
Joker
Okay,
could
yeah.
blow up.
I'm not doing
Beetlejuice
that
could
bad.
blow up. No, I think you both are fine. I only have 2 movies left, right? Well, I guess you're getting to me. Sorry.
God,
Dave?
it's such a
Dave,
lead.
sorry. Dave has 4 out of 6 movies out, and he has a sizable lead at 2,945,962,183 dollars. And of course, Inside Out, the top
Damn.
grossing movie of the year, at $1.62 billion.
Oh my god.
And he has
Fools.
Godzilla X Kong 560 million, Kung Fu Panda 540 million, and Ghostbusters at 200 million.
It does not feel like Godzilla times Kong came out this year. That
Right?
feels like it was like a year and a half ago. That's wild.
But there were a couple misses. We are not perfect here at the Why So Studios podcast. We make mistakes, and there were a couple undrafted movies that have surpassed ones we drafted.
Oh, what do we got?
Twisters has $335 million dollars. A summer blockbuster. We fucked up.
Should have known. Should have
And Quiet
known.
Place
Glenn.
Day 1 made 261 million. So
Wow.
that would have
Eh,
surpassed all
that's
of our
kind of what I
mistakes.
figured it would.
Yeah. And Alien Romulus, it's about to go into its second weekend right now, and it's at 121 million. So I think it made around 80 or 90 opening weekend, and now it's going over 120. So I think it'll probably get around 300 or 350. We'll see.
Straight up. Damn, that is more than I had it estimated at 200 million total, so it's more
Yeah.
than halfway there after one weekend. Or 2 weekends. One
Right.
weekend.
Oh, and Dave's next movie is...
Yeah, come on, man. It's Gladiator 2, bro.
2.
Oh
November
my
22nd.
god, I think that's gonna do really well.
I think Dave's going to win.
That's
bro.
another
Dave's
half
got
Billy.
this.
That's got to be another half Billy. Shut up, Lup. That's got to be another half Billy, though.
Got Denzel in there. Isn't Pedro Pascal in there too?
Yep.
Oh,
Denzel,
man.
Pedro, Paul Mescal,
And the
a few
IP
other
itself.
big names.
Yeah.
And War of the Rohirrim, which is it's at least gonna get 100 million, right?
It's gonna
Right?
make some money.
There, it will be in theaters.
It will make
That's
money.
for sure.
It'll probably help out worldwide a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up in China, but the trailer came out, by the way, and it wasn't enough to really talk about it, but the whole thing was advertised to be about the origins of Helm's Deep and Helm Hammerhand, and the entire trailer focused around his daughter Hera, who's like mentioned barely at all in previous lore. So they kind of jebaited us with that little bait and switch. Now it's not about Helm Hammerhand. It doesn't look like, but I need more out of the trailer. So
Right. All right, we have one more topic, but let's do a quick deserted island. What do you guys say?
Yes.
So of course, if you don't know, it's you're on a stranded island, but you have a television and a DVD player, and you only get 6 movies to choose from. And today we're gonna do composers. So I don't know if you guys want to bring the score of the movie into this decision, kind of maybe which movies have the best score, or
If it's a
just do your-
composer, I'd
or you
say.
can do your favorite movies if you want. So first, of course, we have Sir the GOAT John Williams. So you get Jurassic Park, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Harry Potter. I went with the first one. I think he only scored the first 2. Or he might have done the. He only did like the.
John
original
Williams?
thing. Yeah.
Really?
And Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, and Home Alone.
That's such a weird. He has such a weird resume.
Right.
But
And then we have
Sorry,
Howard Shore.
Keep listening to this off for JD. You just might have to repeat one of them to me. Sorry, keep going.
Okay. Howard Shore. We have Silence of the Lambs, The Departed, Seven, Gangs of New York, and then we have, of course, Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. And then last but not least is Hans Zimmer. You have Interstellar, Dune, Dark Knight, Last Samurai,
game over.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, that's it. I know my pick. But it's tough because you're also giving away Revenge of the Sith, Empire, and then Fellowship of the Ring, Twin Towers. But that's Interstellar is like one of my favorite movies of all time. Dark Knight's the best comic movie of all time. That's easy.
Yeah.
I know what I'm picking.
I'll read off the last two for you again, Dave.
No, I got you. Howard Shore and Hans Zimmer. I could
Yeah.
pick it up from what JD was just saying there, and Howard Shore. I mean, go ahead. What were the movies for
what were
Howard
the-
Shore?
Silence of the Lambs, The Departed,
Ooh.
Seven, Gangs of New York, Fellowship, and Two Towers.
I can't like take off one of those and put the Return of the King in there too.
And then for Hans, you have Interstellar, Dune, Dark Knight, Last Samurai, Pirates of the Caribbean, Blade Runner 2049. See, that I knew it'd be tough for Dave because Lord of the Rings is
Yeah, dude.
And this is all around movie quality, not just the scores.
full.
Whatever you could bring to the desert island, what are you going to watch the rest of your life? That's how I was thinking of it. Dune's even in there. God.
Give me Howard Shore's list one more time.
Silence of the Lambs, The Departed, Seven, Gangs of New York, Fellowship, Two Towers.
I'll take it. Howard Shore. It's enough for me. Those two movies are worth it, and then you get Silence of the Lambs, which is an iconic all-time serial killer movie. Seven is kind of the same, another
Fantastic.
iconic serial killer movie.
The
And
Departed.
I already forgot the middle one.
It's
but
really
The
good.
Departed, which is a totally change of pace there, and yeah, it's a really solid movie. I didn't know he scored that. Huh. Yeah, I'm going Howard Shore.
Hans Zimmer. What are you doing, love?
Wow, no love for John Williams. Seriously,
There's a lot of
guys?
love, but Interstellar,
Sorry,
Dark
dog.
Knight, Dune.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to
Home
go
Alone
with
ain't
JD's
cutting it.
answer and Hans Zimmer. Because Blade Runner 2049 holds a special place in my heart. And Last Samurai.
I haven't seen that one, actually.
I watched it not too recently.
It's alright.
And, it was
Not too recently.
like a year ago, probably.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a slip up. Like, I watched it recently, but not too recently. Like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since like I was 17 or 18, so it's been a while. But yeah, and it was okay. It's got the same guy who's in every possible movie that regards Japan. I forget his name. I just messed up, but
Hirokoshi or something.
fine with Howard Shore.
All right, and before we wrap it up, we have a little segment we like to call "What have you been watching lately?"
Or reading.
Or reading, but I don't know how to read. But JD, you know how
Right.
to read. You've been reading
Yeah.
any
Single people out here.
books, comics, novels, magazines.
Yeah, I got some reading and I got a watch too. But for example, today I had an 8-hour watch and I read the whole time. And
The Night's Watch.
yes, the Night's Watch. I had to defend against like ice-formed terrorists that didn't need to walk in the building, which none of them did. So I just got to read. Thank you,
Wow,
terrorists.
You're like Sam.
Basically, so I read 3 comics. They all sucked. One of them was new. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm going to mention Target Vader by Robbie Thompson, which the first issue started so sick. They introduced this character named Bylert Vance, if you're familiar, but awesome bounty hunter, super tricky and funny and killed a lot of people, and he was going to try to kill Vader. And then the rest of it just sucked. The first issue was so sick, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to redo my top 5 Star Wars comics. Then it just went into these side characters. I was like, what the hell is this? Didn't like it. And then Darth Maul by Colin Bunn, Again, sick first issue. He goes and fights a bunch of Rathtars. Remember from Force Awakens, those crazy big things with all
Yeah.
these tentacles running around, and that was sick. Then he talks to the Emperor about going on a mission. That was sick. Then he just goes and does defiant things. So then it started to feel like a Vader comic, like repeat, same exact stuff going on there. And then again, the rest of it just sucked. It was about a bunch of side characters. Parable of the Sower. So this is a normal novel. So good, dude. And it's about this family, and the world goes to shit. The economy plunges, and it's a pretty gnarly world, and it's just about them surviving. Very well told. Very, like, I couldn't put the book down. It's scary. Now that I got kids, especially, just scary, wondering if the world can possibly get this bad in a very realistic way. I compare it to, it's like a lot like Walking Dead, just without zombies. There's just a bunch of really fucked up people out there instead of zombies, and people just trying to survive. You don't know who to trust, but you're running around trying to find food and money.
Fallout.
Yeah, Parable of the Sower, sick. And then I finally started Project Hail Mary, which has been in my Amazon to buy list for a long time. And it's supposed to be a movie, which is what got me to actually just make that purchase and start reading it. It's about this dude. It just starts with this dude. Doesn't know it yet, but he's in a spaceship, but he has no memory of why he's there. There's only 2 other dead people in the bed, like that were in a, not cryo sleep, but in some kind of sleep so they could travel long distances, like an induced coma. And he has to piece together where he is, what he's doing, find out what the mission is. And very good book so far. Got like 70 pages into that. All those, none of the comics I don't recommend.
Sorry. Sorry, I was just Project Hail Mary. Phil Lord and Chris Miller are the directors on it. And it looks like Ryan Reynolds is going to be in it.
Oh, that's sick.
So
I wonder if he's
that's
the
pretty
lead.
dope.
They're doing a movie?
They are next
Yeah,
year.
2026.
Oh, couple
Oh,
years.
this says 26. But yeah, Chris Miller and Phil Lord obviously on the Across the Spider-Verse stuff and 21 Jump Street movies and a few other things. Like, they've made some creative stuff, so that could be dope.
Yeah, super
interesting.
good so far. But one more thing about the Darth Vader comic, I didn't love it, but there was also a cool branch of the Rebels called the Hidden Hand. Have you guys heard of that from anything else?
Yeah, wait, The Hidden Hand. Hold on,
sounds
that
familiar.
rings a bell.
They were like
I feel like
these,
that was in a Legends book.
they were super black market, like arms dealers that were very secretive, and they were kind of also trying to kill Vader, but they had a really cool story. Like I said, the comic didn't end up being that good, but that bounty hunter, Billy Vance, and then the Hidden Hand, a couple really cool concepts I'd love to see on the big screen.
Sounds kind of dope.
And as far as watching, Dark Matter, finished that. Super good. Really, really liked it. Couldn't stop watching it. It stayed close to the book, like in all the best possible ways. And it deviated from the book in really totally chill ways. Like that character, Leighton Vance. A lot of his story was totally not in the book, but he was a really solid character. And
Which one's that?
that's the dude who Jason 2 was trying to get investments from. And the one from the original, from that other world, he was like chasing Jason down, trying to kill him or bring him back to the lab or whatever. And then he ends up just dying, right? Because he couldn't navigate inside of the box. And the last scene you saw of him was hella bloody, limping, jacked up.
Yeah.
You could just tell he was lost in the box.
Don't
And
listen to this.
yeah. So a lot of his story was not in the book. And then a lot of the ending stuff totally didn't happen that way. But just did such a good job portraying the book and doing different stuff. But I heard they're trying to do maybe a season 2, which doesn't really excite me because there's no source material to base it off of. But this show was really good. Big win.
Yeah. But just end it. Like, come on. It was
Yeah. Leave it. Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
I'm gonna
You been
watch it.
watching? You been watching, reading?
Not so much. I mean, I've been on, I binged some Alien stuff. I've been reading Dune still here and there when we've been going on trips, which I'm not close to finishing it. I'm sorry to say. I can't, dude. If I start reading after like 8:30 at night, I can't make it more than 2 pages until I'm just
Same.
falling asleep, popping my head back up, going back to the start of the page, doing it over and over until I get to a point where it's like, I'm gonna am I doing, bro? Just go to bed. So I can only read it in the mornings. I'm starting to realize, but
You're an old man.
I finished rewatching House of the Dragon and then went to Game of Thrones. So I finished watching Game of Thrones season 6, watched a couple of the dragon scenes of season 8, and then I restarted at season 1. So I just finished the pilot right before I got into the alien stuff, and I'm going all the way through again. So I'm starting my whatever number of trips this is of going through Game of Thrones again. There was a book that our buddy Ben suggested to us, and I put it on my list, and I'm going to be reading it after Dune, but I forgot now, so it's not helpful. But yeah, I've been pretty boring as far as what you've been watching and reading lately.
How's the Dune reading been going?
It is good when I'm staying awake and reading it. I'm captivated the whole time, so I do like it. There's definitely some changes from the movie that really keeps you intrigued because you really don't know, like, oh, are they going to still follow what we saw? And a lot of the times they don't. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, part 1's more like the book than part 2 is, for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I've been rewatching Game of Thrones too. I'm actually halfway through season 3, so I watched the first 2, Battle of the Blackwater, Tyrion, love all that shit, and then obviously now Tywin's taken over season 3. But I actually got back into Sopranos. I just started the final season of Sopranos, so finally about to finish it. It's 21 episodes. They split it into 2 seasons, actually.
Lord.
The first half of this final season is kind of slow, but then I guess it picks up. But the season 5 penultimate episode was crazy. Someone died. It was wild.
Wow.
Someone died.
Yeah.
Never happens on The Sopranos.
Never happens in
Right.
penultimates.
So yeah, watching that.
I've only did like the first season or 2, but I felt like it was pretty slow. I couldn't really get into it.
It's slow, but it's good.
Picks up.
Once you get into the characters and everything, yes.
I did like the characters though, but yeah.
And then also
Yeah,
watched
still gotta watch that too.
Coraline was 15th anniversary. Saw that in theaters in 3D. Ate a little gummy beforehand. It was it was a pretty wild experience, especially since like I don't know if you guys ever seen Coraline before. It's like the claymation
Pretty creepy.
live action, but it's like where a girl. It's kind of like Nightmare on not Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare
like
Before
the Tim-
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Burton universe kind of style, but it's like a girl goes to this little door in a new house she lives in, and she finds like another version of her family where they have buttons for eyes, and then like things get kind of like creepy to where the new mom wants to like take her over and stuff. So it gets kind of crazy at the end, and watching it in 3D, shit was like popping out at me and stuff. So it was wild because 3D was kind of like a
See that?
wild ride for a few years, and then I feel like no one does 3D or no one watches 3D anymore. You know, like what happened
I
to
don't
that?
like
I thought
it.
it was the next big
Yeah.
thing.
Give me a damn headache.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the glasses never fit my freaking eyes, so the corners of the screen would be out of 3D. It's like, this is so... I have OCD, bro. This is not... I can't focus on the movie. Like, all 4 corners are out of 3D. Make bigger glasses. Like, not a
Oh,
fan.
I think that maybe they must have upgraded the glasses because the ones I were wearing were legit.
Probably. I haven't seen a 3D movie in theaters for like 6 years, so I'm sure they've made some upgrades.
I actively avoid them.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, well, one more real quick, but it's called Behind Her Eyes. It's a miniseries on Netflix. Have you heard of that? Pretty cool
not.
psychological thriller. Kind of a romance, but it's only 6 episodes, miniseries, and I've been loving it. It's like a really weird mystery. This girl is banging her psychiatrist, but then like becomes hella good friends with his wife all at the same time. But there's like a weird dark history to her and her husband, and like he seems like the dick, but then you're starting to realize that there's something super dark about her, that maybe she's the villain and he's cheating on his wife and treating her like shit. But then it's like starting to be like, oh, she's got a weird dark history where maybe she's the bad guy and he's like actually finding like true love with this girl that he's banging. So super weird mystery, and we got like an episode left.
Okay. Let me know how it is when you finish.
Interesting.
For sure.
Because my wife just sent me a trailer of a show on Netflix. I forgot the name, but it's like a married couple, and from the man's point of view, it's a sitcom. So everything's like jokey and slapstick. But then from the woman's perspective, it's like a horror or like a thriller. So like I don't know
hell?
exactly how that works out, but like everything through the man's perspective is like this funny show, and then she has this like whole dark experiences and crazy things going on. So I'm kind of interested in that.
Interesting. Never heard of a show like that.
Are you
Yeah.
sure the Joker isn't the main character?
Yeah.
He's just living in his own world.
Like,
By the way, before we wrap it up, sorry, as far as stuff we're interested in that type of thing, Lub, you sent me something, and it's a Netflix thing as well. It's a Netflix project coming out, and it's from the creators of Love, Death... No, sorry, it's Amazon. From the creators of Love and Death and Robots, which is on Netflix. And it's a new adult animated anthology series called Secret Level, which features original short stories set within the worlds of popular video games. So it's a 15-episode series, and it features games such as Pac-Man, Dungeons and Dragons, Crossfire, God of War, Ghosts of Tsushima, Exodus, Spelunky, Warhammer 40k, and various other PlayStation games. And they're just all little anthology side stories, almost like a Tales of the Jedi, but for video games. But it kind of sounds kind of dope, like some Ghosts of Tsushima, which I feel like obviously you guys would have more connection to that, but all of that sounds super interesting to me.
The animation
sounds
is
sick.
really cool too.
oh, it's animated.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
of
all
course it
animated.
would be. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, the Love, Death, Robots is a cool little series.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it's dope. I've never seen it, but I've
There's
heard
some
good
wild
things.
episodes.
But yeah, it looks pretty sick.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this jam-packed episode of Week in Geek. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying till the end. If you're still here, we appreciate you. Don't forget to
Packed
give us a
jam.
5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Let us know how we're doing. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Do all those things. And of course, we will be back soon with our coverage of Rings of Power coming out, in about a week and a half or so.
go. Less.
Yeah. And then
Hell yeah.
Star Wars Outlaws comes out next Wednesday. I will be purchasing that and playing it. There's been some mixed reviews out there, so we'll see how it goes. My hopes have been kind of declining because of what people have been saying, because people have already played the game.
Oh.
Is that the open world one?
But yeah, Ubisoft Open World.
I was really
down
excited, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. I can't wait till the Xbox One release in 2027.
there. Hey, Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, it's not even a joke, really.
All right, well, thank you, and we will see you next time on Why So Sidious.